child, pause for a moment and listen carefully. Do not let this be another voice passing through your day. Do not place these words beside the noise of everything else and treat them as if they carry no weight. I am speaking to you now with purpose. I am speaking to you now because something is moving closer to your life, and you need to be awake enough to recognize it when it arrives. You have been carrying many things at once. Your thoughts have been scattered. Your heart has been tired. Your days have felt full, but not full of peace. You have learned how to keep moving while feeling drained. You have learned how to answer people with strength while quietly fighting battles no one else can see. And because life has pressed in on you from so many directions, there have been moments when you could no longer tell the difference between my silence and your exhaustion. But listen to me now. The next 72 hours are not ordinary for you. There are moments ahead that will seem small on the surface, but they will not be small in meaning. A conversation, a delay, an opening, a closed door, a sudden thought, a strange sense of urgency, an unexpected invitation, a quiet warning in your spirit. You may be tempted to judge these moments by appearances alone. But if you do, you may misread what I am doing right in front of you. And that is why I am calling you to stop and listen before those hours unfold. I do not speak with urgency to create fear in you. I speak with urgency because your attention matters. Your posture matters. What you dismiss in the next few days may contain the answer you have been praying for, or the correction you have needed, or the redirection that will keep you from stepping into unnecessary pain. And what you welcome in faith may become the beginning of a shift you have not yet imagined. You have asked me for clarity. You have asked me if I still see you. You have asked me if the waiting has meaning. You have asked me if the closed doors, the heavy nights, the unanswered prayers, and the confusion in your spirit are signs that you have somehow been left behind. My child, hear me clearly. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. And you are not standing in an empty place where nothing is happening. What feels delayed to you is not abandoned by me. What feels quiet to you is not absent of my hand. There are movements around you that your natural eyes have not yet understood. But before you can recognize what is coming, I must confront something that has been clouding your vision. You have been more wounded than you admit. You have been more discouraged than you say out loud. You have been functioning, but deep inside, you have also been bracing. Bracing for disappointment, bracing for silence, bracing for more delay, bracing for another moment where you hope for change and nothing seems to happen. You have learned how to expect less so that pain will not hit as hard. You have taught your heart not to reach too far, because you are afraid of what it will feel like if hope rises and the answer still does not come. And because of that, you have started to watch life through a lens of caution instead of expectancy. You still pray, but sometimes with tiredness in your spirit. You still believe, but sometimes with fear beside your faith. You still wait, but sometimes you wait like someone preparing for disappointment, instead of someone preparing to receive. I have seen that battle in you. I have seen the moments when you wanted to trust me fully, but your heart carried too many bruises to rest easily. I have seen the questions you never said in front of others. I have heard the silent cries that never became full sentences. I have watched you reach the end of certain days with a smile on your face and heaviness in your chest, wondering how long a soul can stay strong before it starts to fracture. And I want you to understand something before anything else. Your pain did not repel me. Your confusion did not offend me. Your questions did not push me away. I have remained near you through every season you barely survived. I was there in the room where nobody saw the tears fall. I was there in the car ride where your thoughts grew too loud. I was there on the nights when you tried to sleep, but your mind would not stop moving. I was there in the moments you looked calm to everyone else, but felt like you were unraveling inside. I was there when you doubted your own strength. I was there when you wondered if your prayer had touched heaven at all. I was there. Not once did you suffer outside my sight. Not once did you fall into confusion without my awareness. Not once did your heart break without me drawing near. But there is a reason I am speaking this way now. There have been many times when I tried to guide you gently. A quiet hesitation before a wrong step. A peace that came when you moved in one direction but not another. An inner warning when something looked acceptable on the outside but carried danger within it. A soft pull in your spirit telling you to slow down, to pray again, to wait, to let go, to stop forcing what was not meant to stay. Sometimes you noticed it, sometimes you obeyed, and sometimes you were too tired, too rushed, too wounded, or too distracted to recognize that I was leading you. I do not say this to accuse you. I say it so that you will understand the importance of the hours ahead. Because when a person has been living in survival mode for too long, they often stop paying attention to holy details. They begin to move automatically. They answer quickly. They react emotionally. They judge by the surface. They confuse urgency with wisdom. They confuse familiarity with safety. They confuse delay with denial. They confuse discomfort with danger. And in doing so, they can walk past the very thing I was trying to place in their hand. My child, I do not want that for you. There are blessings that arrive quietly. There are warnings that come softly. There are turning points that do not look dramatic at first. And there are divine interruptions that appear in ordinary clothes. If you are only expecting me to move through something obvious, loud, or undeniable, you may overlook the way I am choosing to speak. So listen carefully. In the next 72 hours, do not rush to name everything. Do not call it rejection too quickly. Do not call it failure too quickly. Do not call it punishment too quickly. Do not call it coincidence too quickly. Do not call it too late, just because it did not happen the way you imagined. There are things you are about to see that can only be understood by a heart that has become still enough to discern. And that stillness is what I am inviting you into right now. I know the world has taught you to move fast, answer fast, react fast, decide fast, protect yourself fast, assume fast, fear fast. But wisdom often grows in slowness. Discernment often comes after the noise quiets, and what is holy is often recognized only by the person who has learned to pause before drawing conclusions. That is why I am calling you to quiet your spirit. You do not need to know everything tonight. You do not need to force clarity tonight. You do not need to solve your whole future before this message ends. You need to become available enough to notice what your woundedness would normally overlook. Available enough to sense where my peace is resting. Available enough to tell the difference between your fear speaking and my spirit leading. Available enough to let me show you what this next stretch of time is really about. Because the truth is, what is approaching is not just about what happens around you. It is also about what is being uncovered within you. Some of you have been praying for change, but you do not realize that I am first exposing the posture with which you are receiving life. You want the door to open, but I am also showing you the fear that would make you mistrust the gift once it arrived. You want the answer, but I am also revealing the weariness that has taught you to assume the answer cannot be good. You want the breakthrough, but I am also uncovering the old grief that has been interpreting every delay as proof that I will not come through for you. My child, this is where many miss what I am doing. They pray for one thing while ignoring the deeper work beneath it. They ask for the blessing without understanding the condition of the heart that must carry it. They ask me to change their circumstances while refusing to let me challenge the lens through which they see those circumstances. But I love you too much to bless you only on the surface. I am not merely interested in giving you a moment of relief. I am interested in restoring your ability to see rightly, trust deeply, and walk wisely. I am not preparing you only for a passing answer. I am preparing you for alignment, for maturity, for recognition, for a deeper kind of peace that is not controlled by visible outcomes. That is why the next 72 hours matter, because they will not only reveal something around you, they will reveal something in you. They will show you what still triggers fear. They will show you where impatience still speaks loudly. They will show you where grief has been writing false conclusions. They will show you whether you are walking by discernment or by reaction. They will show you whether your spirit is truly listening or merely waiting for something that confirms what you already wanted. And once you see that, you will understand why these hours are sacred. My child, there are some doors that have not opened because I was protecting you from what looked right but was not healthy. There are some relationships that changed because they were never meant to follow you into the next season. There are some delays that preserved you from making decisions in a version of yourself that was still too exhausted, too anxious, or too hungry for approval to choose with wisdom. There are some prayers I answered by closing the path, and because it did not feel like the answer you wanted, you almost called it loss. But hear me now. Not every closed door is an ending. Not every delay is resistance. Not every silence is distance. Not every disruption is attack. Sometimes I close a door because what waits behind it would drain you. Sometimes I delay because your heart still needs cleansing from false urgency. Sometimes I become quiet because I am teaching you to stop depending on constant emotional confirmation and start recognizing the steadiness of my character. Sometimes I allow separation because what is familiar to you is no longer faithful to your future. And sometimes I interrupt your routine because you are about to step into a moment that requires clearer sight than you currently have. That is where you are now. You are not being called into panic. You are being called into attention. You are not being invited into fear. You are being invited into discernment. You are not being warned because I want you anxious. You are being awakened because I want you ready. There is a difference. Fear makes you frantic. Discernment makes you watchful. Fear makes you imagine the worst. Discernment makes you listen for truth. Fear tells you to react quickly so you can protect yourself. Discernment tells you to remain steady so you can recognize what is real. And in these next 72 hours, that difference will matter more than you know. There may be a conversation that exposes where loyalty truly stands. There may be an opportunity that looks appealing but carries unrest in your spirit. There may be a sudden desire to return to something I already delivered you from. There may be a chance to say yes, but not to the thing you expected. There may be a moment when your old self wants to force a result, and my spirit asks you to remain still. There may be a disappointment that is actually a rescue. There may be a redirection that feels strange before it feels holy. There may be a word spoken over you that confirms what you have been sensing in private. There may be a release that first feels like grief, and only later reveals itself as freedom. So do not judge too soon. Stay close to me. Take everything back into prayer. Watch not only what happens, but how your spirit responds when it happens. Because some of you have been asking me, Lord, why does this season feel so heavy? Why can I not read what is happening? Why does everything feel suspended between hope and uncertainty? And the answer is this: because you are standing between who you have been and who you are becoming. And transitions always unsettle the parts of you that were built for the old season. You are not only losing what was familiar, you are learning what is true. You are not only being delayed, you are being untangled. You are not only being tested, you are being taught what voice you obey under pressure. You are not only waiting, you are being revealed. That is why this feels deeper than an ordinary stretch of days. My child, I know that some of you listening have grown weary of messages about timing. You have heard people say, "Your moment is coming," so many times that those words no longer stir hope in you the way they once did. I understand that repeated disappointment can make even beautiful promises feel heavy. Long seasons of pain can make your soul flinch when hope comes too close. You begin to protect yourself from expectation because you do not know whether your heart can survive another delay. But I am not calling you to emotional excitement. I am calling you to spiritual readiness. This is not about working yourself into a feeling. This is about becoming sober, attentive, and yielded. If I tell you to watch, it is not because I need your performance. It is because I desire your partnership. I do not force my children through every threshold without involving their trust, their obedience, and their awareness. I invite them. I lead them. I speak to them. And yes, there are moments when I speak more firmly because what is coming requires that they stop drifting and start listening with their whole hearts. This is one of those moments for you. So let me speak plainly. Stop rehearsing the story that says nothing good can happen for you. Stop assuming that your past disappointments have the right to prophesy your future. Stop calling yourself forgotten because the answer did not come on your schedule. Stop measuring my faithfulness only by what changed visibly. Stop allowing the enemy to use your exhaustion as proof that I have withdrawn. Stop interpreting every unfamiliar thing as danger simply because it asks you to trust me differently than before. The enemy has been trying to keep you focused on symptoms instead of source. He wants you occupied with pressure, confusion, fatigue, betrayal, and delay, without ever asking what those things are trying to teach you or expose in you. He wants your energy spent only on surviving, because a soul in survival mode rarely listens deeply. A tired heart settles for shallow conclusions. A wounded mind becomes easier to mislead. That is why so many of your battles in this season have not only been external, they have also been battles over interpretation. Will you call this season abandonment or training? Will you call this interruption punishment or protection? Will you call this discomfort proof of failure or evidence that old attachments are breaking? Will you call this closed door rejection or mercy? Will you call this silence emptiness or invitation? What you name the season determines how you walk through it. And many people lose strength not because the season itself destroys them, but because they agree with the wrong story while they are in it. My child, do not agree with the wrong story. Do not let pain name your future. Do not let fear interpret my silence. Do not let old wounds define what is possible now. Do not let your last disappointment become the lens for your next assignment. I am still God in the waiting. I am still God in the interruption. I am still God when the answer seems delayed. I am still God when the path changes. I am still God when what you expected falls apart. I am still God when your heart is too tired to sing, but still honest enough to whisper my name. And because I am still God, your story is not over because the season is difficult. In fact, some of the holiest turning points in your life have arrived disguised as confusion before clarity broke through. Some of the most important separations in your journey first felt like heartbreak. Some of the greatest protections I ever placed around you first looked like disappointment. Some of the strongest answers I gave you came wrapped in a no, a wait, a pause, a disruption, or a quiet redirection. That is why you must stay awake now. Do not waste the next 72 hours being careless with your spirit. Be careful what voice you magnify. Be careful what emotion you obey. Be careful what old pattern you return to. Be careful what shortcut suddenly looks attractive. Be careful what fear tries to rename as wisdom. Be careful what relationship asks for access after I have already shown you its fruit. Be careful what opportunity flatters your need but starves your peace. Not everything that arrives is meant to stay. Not everything that calls your name is sent by me. Not everything that feels urgent is holy. Not everything that leaves is a loss. Some things must be refused so that better things can be recognized. Some things must be released so that your hands are open for what carries my peace. Some things must be grieved so that you stop resurrecting what I already ended. Some things must be faced honestly so that healing can begin where pretending once lived. And yes, some things must happen in these next 72 hours so that you will finally see what I have been showing you all along. My child, one of the deepest mistakes you can make in a sensitive season is assuming that discernment only concerns dramatic sins or obvious danger. True discernment also concerns subtler things, the slow return of unhealthy thoughts, the temptation to reach out where I told you to let go, the impulse to make a decision only because waiting feels unbearable, the desire to secure your future without consulting me because uncertainty has exhausted you, the longing to be chosen by people who were never assigned to carry your heart. These things matter because every time pain is left unhealed, it starts seeking solutions that promise relief but create new bondage. An unhealed fear will call control wisdom. An unhealed rejection will call unhealthy attention love. An unhealed disappointment will call numbness peace. An unhealed delay will call Ishmael destiny. An unhealed wound will keep trying to return to what is familiar, even after I have already called you forward. So be watchful when something arises in these next hours. Do not ask only, what does this look like? Ask also, what is this drawing out of me? Is it drawing you into prayer or into panic, into clarity or confusion, into humility or reaction, into peace or pressure, into surrender or self-protection? That question will save you from many wrong turns, because some of you have been asking me for a sign while I have been waiting for you to become honest about your triggers. You want me to show you what is next, but I am also showing you what still controls you when you are afraid. Not to shame you, to free you, not to expose you for condemnation, to reveal you for healing. And this is the part many resist. They want direction without exposure. They want breakthrough without refinement. They want confirmation without confrontation. They want change around them, but not truth within them. My child, I love you far too much to leave you untouched by your own prayer. If you ask me for deeper peace, I will reveal what steals it. If you ask me for wisdom, I will expose where you have been listening to fear. If you ask me for healing, I will lead you toward the wound. If you ask me for the new season, I will loosen your grip on the old one. If you ask me to bless your future, I will challenge the lies that would poison it before it begins. This is not cruelty. This is mercy. And many of you are closer to mercy than you realize. That is why you feel tension. That is why certain comforts no longer soothe you the way they once did. That is why old habits feel emptier. That is why some relationships feel misaligned. That is why some conversations leave a strange weight in your spirit. That is why some opportunities look good to your natural mind, but carry no rest when you pray. I am teaching you not only to want my hand, I am teaching you to recognize my ways. There is a difference. Many people want blessings, fewer want discernment, yet discernment protects blessings once they arrive. What good is an open door if you do not know how to walk through it wisely? What good is a new season if you carry into it the same fearful patterns that wounded you in the old one? What good is answered prayer if you still cannot tell the difference between peace and pressure? So I am not late. I am precise, and in the next 72 hours my precision will become more visible if you stay soft enough to receive it. My child, some of you are also carrying guilt, quiet guilt, heavy guilt, the kind that does not always speak loudly but shapes the way you approach me. You still love me, but part of you feels hesitant. You still pray, but part of you wonders whether your past disqualified you from expecting anything beautiful. You remember what you did wrong. You remember the compromise. You remember the season you drifted. You remember the choices you wish you had not made. And because of that, you have sometimes mistaken humility for distance. You have shrunk your expectation because you secretly feel unworthy of being led clearly. Hear me with all your heart. Your mistakes did not surprise me. Your weakness did not cancel my purpose. Your detours did not erase my ability to restore. Your history is not stronger than my mercy. I am not speaking to you now because you have earned a perfect moment. I am speaking to you now because I am a faithful Father. I know how to restore time. I know how to rebuild trust. I know how to heal damaged places. I know how to rescue a calling from the rubble. I know how to turn what the enemy meant as confusion into wisdom. I know how to take the very thing you regret and use it to form humility, compassion, and deeper dependence on me. So do not hide from me in the next 72 hours. Come closer. If I reveal something, let me heal it. If I convict you, let me cleanse you. If I redirect you, let me lead you. If I close something, let me show you why. If I open something, let me teach you how to enter without fear. Because what I am doing is not only about events, it is about relationship. I am drawing you into a clearer walk with me, not a louder religion, not a more polished appearance, not a performance of strength, a real walk, an honest walk, a discerning walk, a surrendered walk, a walk where you stop calling every hard thing abandoned, a walk where you stop idolizing what I am removing, a walk where you stop begging for what I already warned you about, a walk where you stop fearing the future because you have learned the sound of my peace. That is part of the shift, and the reason this matters so much is because some of what is coming after these 72 hours will require the version of you that can hear me in subtle places. Not just in crisis, not just in emergency, not just when everything breaks open dramatically. I am forming in you the kind of spiritual attentiveness that can recognize my hand before the full picture appears. That is maturity. And yes, maturity often grows in seasons that feel less glamorous than you expected. It grows when you obey before you understand. It grows when you pause instead of panic. It grows when you refuse to resurrect what I buried. It grows when you choose peace over pressure. It grows when you trust my character more than your current emotions. It grows when you let my truth speak louder than your fear. So my child, here is what I want from you now. Return to stillness. Pull your heart back from the edge of reaction. Do not let the next 72 hours be led by your wound. Pray before you answer. Pause before you decide. Notice before you label. Listen before you move. Test what appears. Watch where peace rests. Bring your emotions into my presence instead of letting them become your guide. And above all, remain teachable, because the greatest tragedy would not be that a difficult thing happened. The greatest tragedy would be that something meaningful unfolded and you were too distracted, too bitter, too hurried, or too wounded to recognize my hand in it. Do not let that happen. You are too close to deeper understanding to go numb now. You are too close to freedom to return to old chains now. You are too close to discernment to let panic make your choices now. Or zero. You are too close to truth to keep repeating the wrong story now. The season is shifting, but not all shifts feel easy at first. Sometimes a shift feels like exposure before relief. Sometimes it feels like loss before alignment. Sometimes it feels like confrontation before peace. Sometimes it feels like emptiness before filling. Sometimes it feels like holy discomfort before holy clarity. Do not run from that. Stay with me in it, because there's a truth I need to leave with you before these words end. What you have called silence may not have been silence at all. What you have called delay may have been arrangement. What you have called loss may have been separation. What you have called confusion may have been unveiling. What you have called pressure may have been the shaking of what could not remain. What you have called the end may have been the mercy that stopped you from building your future on something too weak to carry it. And once you understand that, the whole season begins to look different. You will see that I was not absent. I was precise. You will see that I was not punishing you. I was preserving you. You will see that I was not ignoring your prayer. I was answering deeper than your first request. You will see that I was not withholding love. I was refusing to let lesser things occupy the place of what was truly meant for you. This is the reveal your heart has been moving toward. You are not being abandoned. You are being awakened. You are not being forgotten. You are being prepared. You are not standing in meaningless delay. You are standing in a holy threshold where interpretation, discernment, and surrender will determine how you step into what comes next. So lift your head, not in pride and awareness. Steady your spirit, not in denial. In trust, open your hands, not in passivity. In surrender, and watch. Watch what rises. Watch what falls away. Watch what returns seeking access. Watch what fear tries to rush. Watch what peace confirms. Watch what fear tries to rattle. I will lead you. I will not leave you guessing without grace. I will not expose without healing. I will not redirect without purpose. I will not confront without love. I will not ask for trust without also providing the strength to give it. The next 72 hours matter, but you do not need to fear them. You need to enter them awake, enter them prayerfully, enter them honestly, enter them expectantly, enter them with a heart that says, Lord, teach me how to read this season through your eyes, not through my wounds, because when you do, what once looked threatening may reveal itself as mercy. What once looked empty may reveal itself as preparation. What once looked like a closed chapter may reveal itself as the end of only what could not follow you where I am taking you. My child, remember this. You do not need to force what I have chosen. You do not need to chase what carries no peace. You do not need to fear what I am exposing. You do not need to mourn forever what I have removed. You do not need to understand everything in order to obey the next clear step. Stay near me. That is enough for now. The next 72 hours will speak. But more importantly, if you listen, I will speak through them. And when they pass, you may realize that the thing you feared was not the thing you needed to fear at all. The real danger was never that I had stopped moving. The real danger was that pain, distraction, and fatigue might convince you to stop paying attention. So pay attention now, because I am nearer than your doubt says. I am gentler than your fear expects. I am more active than your circumstances suggest, and I am already ahead of you in what is coming. Rest tonight knowing this. You are seen. You are guided. You are loved. You are being warned because you matter. You are being warned because you are not meant to miss what I am. And you are being called closer, not pushed away. So breathe. Release the old story. Release the false conclusions. Release the need to control every outcome. Release the agreement you made with disappointment. Release the belief that delay means disfavor. Release the fear that the future can only repeat the pain of the past. Then come into these next hours with open eyes and a surrendered heart, because I am still writing your story, and what happens next may not look the way you expected. But if you remain close to me, you will know this for certain. It will not be random. It will not be wasted, and it will not happen outside the reach of my hand. If your heart receives this, do not walk away unchanged. Go into prayer. Guard your spirit, watch closely, and let these next 72 hours find you listening.